Peace and blessings.
Hello and welcome to another session of Divorce Chronicles, candid conversations on starting over, finding the wisdom, gift, strength, and resilience after divorce. Today we have Sandra. I'd like to introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Thank you, Rebecca. My name is Sandra, and at the moment I am the founder of Harmonics for Life, and I am a business coach. So I help people in different areas, especially in values, how to align themselves with their values, their vision, their mission, just to be the best persons, the best versions of themselves.
That's beautiful. I wish you all the best with your journey. So we'll get started. Now, can you tell us a little bit about your divorce and what led to it? And when this happened, how long ago?
Yes, I got divorced around, this one was 2011, so around 12 years ago. And this divorce happened because of previous situations that happened from the beginning.
Yes.
Yes. So the main reason was infidelity.
Inferiority. And how long was your marriage? How long your marriage lasted for? How long you knew your ex-husband for? And then what was the last strike that sort of helped you make that decision that you want that divorce, or he wanted that divorce and you didn't want to continue?
I think when we are in a relationship, we have a lot of learning experiences. And when we are starting, it's like we are very naive. And also we want to bring the best from ourselves. And we are in this phase or this stage that the both partners, they want to give to each other. So in that stage is an opportunity for us to meet and to understand who we are. So I started very young. I met my ex-husband when I was 14 years old, and I have like we were boyfriend and girlfriend for 4 to 5 years. So it was not much for me to experience with different people, to know or to have more friends, because also he was older than me. So, and it was another situations that were happening in the environment that I was, that the relationship just developed in this way. So I got married when I was around 18 years old. And this is when the situation of infidelity happens. So in that particular moment, it was a sense of betrayal, and also losing the trust and losing many values that make me question about what was the point to be married. Yeah.
So a lot of the time what happens is we see the signs that it's probably not working out for me, and we still stick around, like maybe things will change, maybe he will change, maybe she will change, or trying to change them. But then there comes a time when we are like, I had enough. So at what point you had that feelings that I had enough and this is it, I'm not going to waste one more second? I remember I felt that way. I'm not going to spend one more second, and that this is it. I had enough. So when and how did you get to that point? How long did it take? Like you said, you knew him from 14 years old, got married at the age of 20, did you say?
18.
And then it lasted for probably another 10 years. But that's a pretty long time to be with a person and put up with whatever was going on. it's not necessarily his fault, your fault. We didn't have enough tools back then, enough understanding, being young and not being, not having enough education in relationship and communication and emotion. Yes. So we didn't have those tools back then. And then what sort of prompted that this is it? And when did that happen? And how long did you tolerate the whole thing?
I think this happened straight away. When that situation happened straight away, it's like, no, I cannot stay in this relationship. But it's like I lost myself. And this is why it's so important for us to keep our cup full. And sometimes people don't understand that. For me, I have this metaphor about having the cup full. And it means for me that I am able to give only, if I want to share with someone, I give half of my cup, but still I must have some reserve for myself. And I gave my whole cup. Yes. So I lose myself, I lose my identity, and I became like close to this person, like same as this person. And when this situation happened, it's like I'm thinking, what's the point to be here? I was broken heart, and also I was expecting my baby. So when this situation happens, it's a lot of learnings from this point, because I have to keep quiet, I have to keep relaxed, and I have to protect my baby. So I have to protect my emotions, my mental feel, everything, and at the same time to protect my baby the way that I didn't want him to experience my suffering. So in that particular moment, it's like I have to stay there. And when the baby is born is when I feel this force that is empowering me and says it's time to go. It's no hesitation. So any other external factors start to affect the decision, because in that time we were traveling, and also because of the family values. So when another situation was that I was blackmailed by him in some ways, because it's like I was not allowed to talk and express what I need to say, and just to hold this situation for myself. I couldn't express this to my family. I couldn't say what was happening, but all the time that feeling was inside myself. So when I spoke to my mom, in the culture, it's very important to keep the family together. And it's like you are the pillar, you are the one that has to look after your family. You have a baby now, and you have to continue.
Yeah. May I ask which background, cultural background, is that from? Because I, coming from myself, Indo-Pak background, that is exactly what goes on in my culture. So I'm surprised, like it's happening other elsewhere as well. If you don't mind answering that question, would be great.
Yes, of course. It's from South America. I'm from Colombia. Yes.
So we're pretty much same culture.
Yes.
All right. So the mother said, "Nah, you have to just go through whatever you need to go through, but you have to be there."
Yes, I have to be there. Yes. So in that moment, it's like it was my decision. I continue in the relationship, but then it's like other factors happen. We came to Australia. We didn't have the language. Both of us, we had our own issues with the language, cultural barrier, isolation, no family, and I was expecting my second baby. So.
And when was that? Like which year?
This is 2000 and is 1994. So it's
long time. Yeah.
It's like around 3 years after that, or 4 years after that. After
So, yeah, pretty young, still pretty young. Yes.
Yes. So in that particular moment, I took the decision to start to build myself again and start to separate. I couldn't do it emotionally because I wasn't ready. My cup was still empty. So I just decided to start to grow and to do what I really wanted to do. So I started to follow my dreams and to start to study and prepare myself for that moment. And
And
I
with
think,
the second child, you conceived the second child at that time.
yes,
So a lot
yes,
of emotional and hormonal things going on. And then the issue with the ex-husband, and now pressure of studies and growth in that area as well. That's a
yes,
lot, that's a lot to, take on.
yes.
How did you cope, and how did you go through it? Who was your support?
I think in that particular moment, I was lost too. And especially I was lost emotionally because everything just came apart between both of us. We were not, I'm not blaming him and I'm not blaming the situation, but this is how things happen. And I didn't have the attention that I needed in that time, especially after giving a baby. I was having like some kind of post-depression, and I was looking for ways to improve my marriage and also to have like a good family, to raise my family in the right way. So it was also a lot of misconception about going to counseling. I tried many times, but I come from a macho society that men don't need this kind of counseling or this kind of help. So I felt hopeless. It's like, which way to go? How can I do it? And in that moment, I decided to separate. So the separation couldn't happen. I was confronted in many ways, and I was not able to leave. I was still with my baby, and then I just lost myself, and I said, okay, if this situation is happening to me and I'm just experiencing this, I just start to experience what I need to experience. So I start to be unfaithful too, because I start to look for the things that I was needing.
Yeah, your emotional need, you were looking to get those met.
Yes, and this is what I did, and I thought it was the right path for me in order to keep to nourish myself and to be like healthy for my kids. So after 4 years, I just woke up again and I said, no, I cannot continue this life. This is not right for me. And I took a decision, and this is a big turning point for me.
And I would like to add here for our viewers and listeners that a lot of the times this happens that for a very long period, our basic needs, emotional need is also a basic need, is not being met, then we would, either male or female, doesn't matter, we would go out and start looking to get our cup filled, to get those emotional needs met outside. So I wouldn't say that if you have done that, there is no way to patch up things, or I wouldn't say that you have done something so horrible that you are a bad person. There is always recovery. We know that in a marriage, when we are committed, going out is a sin, or going out with somebody else is obviously looked down upon. And of course there are those things, but at the same time we also got to get to understand, like, if I'm hungry for many years, I'm just gonna start probably stealing or whatever that is means of getting that nourishment. So it is probably, I wouldn't say probably better, but from experience and from collected experience, that if we are not nourished and we recognize it and it's not easy to, you know, have those conversation or get to the conclusion that this is it. Because there is still some attachment or something that's holding us together, but then not to take those decisions, because later on it's like you are the one who cheated on me, but nobody sees that, you know, there was so much deprivation of emotion and love that people just went out and searched for it. So it is better to do the right thing, which is, doesn't matter how hard it is, let's stop this and let's just be you know, good to each other, to allow us the space to look for somebody else who can meet our needs. That's my experience, and I'm not judging anybody, and I don't think we are in a position to judge at all. We don't know what's going on for somebody when we are not in their shoes. So that's my perspective, but please do carry on, please. Yes.
Thank you. So this is what happened in that time when I decided to take the decision. I was very conscious, and I just stood up, and I stood, and the only way for me to stand up was to say the truth. I said, if I really want to move out from what is happening, I need to confront myself, and I need to speak the truth. And I did. So in that particular moment was very painful, because when the situation happened to me, it was painful, but it was never like, it's like I have to cope with that situation. Whereas in this moment, when I am the one who is causing this pain, for me, it was more painful to see this person suffering.
Yes.
And in that particular moment, I took the responsibility to be with him until he was able to come out from the pain. So I saw my eyes change towards him. It's like before it was a lot of anger and resentment and upsetness. And after that, it was like, I think the most important moment for me was to confront the truth, to stand up and take the decision and say, yes, I'm going to do this. And by talking to him and explaining what was happening, everything changed for me. It was no more anger, no more hatred, and it was different love. It was not the love of a man, but it was the love for a human being. And when I saw that pain, I said, when you are ready, we can separate. So that, from that moment and to the moment of divorce, it was a lapse of 10 years that we have to go through that process. And in that process, we were with
another 10 years.
Another 10 years.
So how long before, like, you knew him? Like, how long in total you knew him for until the divorce? So
25 years.
Oh, wow, that's a long time to come to that decision. Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
So I understand that it's long time, but being in that situation, time doesn't exist. It's not time. It's really weird. It's not passing of the years. It's not, I cannot explain that, but
it's, see if this resonates. It's not time until we are ready. So it doesn't matter if it's 10 years or 20 years, 25 years, unless we are ready, it's not happening. So we cannot just accelerate the process.
Yes, that's right. Everything falls in the right moment at the right time. Yeah. So this is one aspect, and the other aspect is that we just have to hold each other. It was many learnings in this experience, because we went from one side of the coin to the other side. We experienced a lot of love and also hatred, revenge, upsetness, anger, all these feelings. But in order for us to know love, also I have to be on the other side of the coin. And only through experience I am able to understand that. And I think this one was my process. This one was my learning. And through that learning, I know both of us, we grew up. About myself, I think I am a different person to who I was before. And I know that I am not the same person I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or even yesterday. So every day we are growing, and we are getting the best version of ourselves through that experiences. Yeah.
Well, that is quite an experience, isn't it? As you mentioned, for us to know love, we have to go through the other side of the coin to come to this. I'll just check back on my questions so that it prompts me. And sorry, I forgot to ask, how did all of this emotional roller coaster affect the children? You have two sons, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
I think I have been very lucky because I have very good mood, very good personality. So I was able to manage the situation, and like my internal situation, and also I was able to be always available for the boys. So it was good for me. Like I was very open to my boys, and very playful, and trying to keep them safe in all aspects. Same, and I think my ex-husband also, he did very well with them too. But at some point they know that, they feel that, it's something that we cannot hide.
No, it's the energy. We cannot hide the energy. Yes.
And they can sense that something is missing, something is happening. They don't understand why things are like this with his father, why things are like this with me. So what is happening? What is going on?
Yeah, so that definitely had an effect. And what age were they when you guys actually divorced?
My older one was around 20.
Right. So they were adults to handle the situation by then.
Yes. And the younger one was 16.
Right. Yeah. And did the 16-year-old sort of protest, like, nah, you guys have to be together?
Do you know, it was very painful, because maybe I knew the process that I was having, and in that time a lot of his friends, the parents of his friends, were getting divorced. And one day my younger son, he came and he says, "Mom, you swear to me that my father and you are never going to get divorced." So that was very painful, because I knew it was going to happen.
Yes.
Yes.
And it was hard for both of you. Was there you were here in Australia?
Yes.
Then did you find any social stigma around the divorce in Australia, or did you find support and help for you to move through the divorce? Because I understand that emotionally you were already done with him, and probably him as well, but still when we come to sign the papers, our hands still shake. Did you feel that, and did you have community to help you through that, just right before divorce and after divorce?
No, not really, because since very young age I have been I grew up in like, I was with him since I was 14, and everything was like, I have to keep quiet. Everything that happens between both of us, it has to be between us. It's because when you are with your partner, it's like you are the lovers, the confidant, you are the best friend, you are everything for this person. And this is what happened. So I was looking after him in that concern. Even with the situation that happened, I have to keep quiet. Whereas for him, when I spoke to him, it's like everything just spread. So what happened to me was I was the bad person of the situation.
Mhm.
And it's not bad or good. It was the situation just happened and happened between both of us.
Mhm.
So not there people were allowed to be in that situation. Not there people were allowed to criticize or take judgment or start to punish any of us, because they didn't know what happened. They didn't know the story. They only knew part of the story. So after my divorce, I felt attacked. I felt a lot of I felt attacked through social media. I felt attacked through physically,
Mm.
and that was for a period of time. So I have to overcome that situation on my own.
Mm.
Mm.
That must have been really, really hard. Were there like support groups, like how in Australia government has people, communities, or organization who would help women through any sort of challenge, especially divorce or violence or things like that? Did you seek help from them? Were you able to get in touch with those?
The only help I looked for was for a psychologist, because I need to speak up and I need to yes, to see if I was right or I was wrong, just to see my sanity in where I was standing at. That was the only thing, the only person I look, and also my lawyer. I think he was also like a counselor in that time. So that was the only assistance I received, and other thing that really helped me to go through that process was to the first thing I did, I isolated myself. I sent an email to everyone, to my friends, to my family, and I said that I was going through divorce and I was going to be away for a while. I was not going to talk to anyone. So that isolation, that situation helped me to see where I was standing,
Mm.
what was happening.
Mm.
And to understand the whole process,
Mm.
because it's like, how come I end up in here? So what happened?
Yeah.
And I have to do this self-assessment, and I have to go inside myself, and from there I start to know my story, to really understand who I was, and I start to face my ugliness.
Mm.
I start to face um my shadow, my demons,
Mm.
all these bad emotions that came out through this relationship. What happened?
Mm.
So I wasn't meant to be nasty, or I wanted to be a good wife. What happened?
Mhm.
So I had a period of another 10 years just to recover myself and to understand what was the purpose of being married, why I didn't live my life, because
Mm.
I have been in this relationship since I was 14.
Yeah,
So yes,
pretty much a child, you know?
yes,
Yeah.
and yeah, this is the story.
That has been a lot. I feel like giving you a hug, and I send you a virtual hug. It feels like you needed that at that time. So for that young girl, 10 years ago, who needed that hug, this is for her.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rebecca.
So not having that community around you, either from your own family or from just where you were living in that country, not having that support, now when you look back, or what moving forward, like we are in 2023, what would you like to see for people who are going through divorces, men, women, doesn't matter? What sort of support should we have in the community and from the family, especially from the family? Because you think your tribe would be the people who would get your back when you are falling. But it seems like when it comes to divorce, lot of the communities, we have this stigma that now you cannot get divorced. It doesn't matter how hard it is, you go and live that life. And we don't create that support, because probably they also feel guilty, like if I support them, then they will get divorced, not understanding they're gonna get divorced. They're just gonna go through another 10-20 years before they get divorced. So what would you like to see? What sort of support would you like to see?
I think we need a lot of supporting values. This is one of the main things we need to do now, especially with young couples, because when we enter in a relationship, both parties needs to understand the compromise, what they are doing, the responsibility that we are taking, and also we need to be aware of which ones are our values, which one are our standards, and what we want with this relationship. So I can be myself, but at the same time, I need to accept the other person, and how are we going to interact? So if I have these values, how I am aligned with my partner. So for me, this is one of the biggest things that we need to keep, because when one of these values are broken, like for example, infidelity, my God, that just throws you. That destroys everything. It's not just destroying the family or destroying the relationship. It's destroying the person. It's destroying the respect, the dignity, the trust. So how are we going to look after that? Because love is like a glass. After you release the glass and it's broken, it's no way to put this back again.
Together.
So how are we going to do it? I think this is one of the big things, working the values, and also to be very truthful, that when we come into a relationship, are we coming from love or are we coming from desire? So that is two different things. When it's love, is acceptance, is compromise, is
it's hard to know that when you are 14, though. Nobody teaches us that.
Yes.
You don't know what is the difference between love and lust, you know?
I think when you're young, yes, you follow more like love when you're young, because you have your dreams. When I was little, I knew I was going to have my family very young. I knew I was going to have my kids when I was maybe 17, 18. I knew that, and I love it, because I wanted to have my kids when I was young. So I knew that I have to be with a man that I really love, and I fall in love with this man, with this person, and I thought he was the right person for my family, but things didn't happen, and maybe I wasn't the right woman for him. Maybe I was childish. I didn't have the opportunity to grow up, or I don't know.
Maybe this was meant to be. Maybe this was the path we had to take to become the person that we need to be today. So there was no other way. Without going through that process, we would find ourselves today.
Exactly. Yes.
I think it's not, is he a right person for me, or is she a wrong person for me? It's not about that. It's about the journey. Who is going to take me from here to there? This version of me to that version of me. And I believe in the Supreme Almighty Creator. I believe he plans that journey for us. Who is going to be the what do you say, the vehicle, to take us there? And for him, it's the same. He needed to be a different person, and you were the vehicle for him to carry him to that destination. This is how I see it.
Thank you for that, Rebecca, to bring that, because I feel very connected to what you are saying. I resonate with that. And I also am a truly believer that nothing is everything is following the path. I agree with you. And it was meant to be like that. Yes, it was meant to be like that, and maybe it was meant for me to take a decision before, and maybe to take action in different way, and not to stay dormant in this relationship. And that was my lesson. Maybe that was my lesson. So, but now I am here. It's nothing that I regret. I feel very thankful because for the experiences and my experience, my life experience with this person, I just grew in many areas. And I feel blessed for that, for this path. In that time, I didn't have the consciousness to act in the proper way or to take the right decisions. But here I am now, sitting, talking to you, and maybe inspiring other people to start to wake up.
And probably the creator chose us to inspire other people, and for us to be inspirational, we need to go through a suffering. Otherwise, how can we be inspirational to others who are probably right now needing this boost of energy from this conversation, that they can make it as well?
Yes, right,
definitely. And about the support from the community, do you think, like, do you have a message for people who are going through divorce or thinking of divorce, to their family, that how they can support these people who are going through this relationship trouble?
Yes, I think the first thing is to speak up. So the person that is in this marriage situation, they need to speak up. And for the listeners, the family that is listening, just to support them and respect their decisions. Because it's nothing, I think all of us, we know what is right and what is wrong for us. And by listening, when the person speaks up when the person speaks and the listener is attentive to what is happening with the person, then it's more support. And maybe it's another ways to approach the problem. And if the person takes the decision to separate or get divorced, is just respecting that decision, because he is the one in that shoes, in that life, in that situation. He's the one expending, he or she is no
it's not about whoever
yes.
that person is. Yes,
they are the one experiencing the situation. They know their story. So the outsiders, they don't know anything. They just only they are there just only to support wherever the decision is. And it's healthier when they separate and they are open with the kids.
That's right. Yeah, so basically the people around, you can be a person who supports while they're going through that difficult journey, or you can make it more difficult for them by criticizing and being, pushing them towards a decision that you would like to have. So just let them have their decision, but be okay with whatever decision they're taking, but be a support for them to create a space where they can open up, and if they need to cry, or give a warm embrace, a hug, if they need.
Yes, and I think another situation is that families needs to liberate from this stigma.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not that what about other people is going to think about us. It's not that. We don't need to be worried about that anymore. We need to be worried about our own lives and how are we going to be happy. Because when we are happy, we are bringing happiness to everyone in our family, our kids, everywhere. And if we are happy, we are healthier. We can contribute more to others in a positive way.
Yeah, definitely. That is the message for all the people who know somebody who's going through a divorce, or know that they're going through a rocky relationship, and how you can be there for them instead of poking your nose and getting them to do what you want. So definitely. My next question is, How has your life changed since divorce, and how do you see yourself moving forward? What lessons have you learned? How have you grown stronger? What was the gift in this divorce for you? How did you come to realize that this was a gift? And how are you going to take that gift to your new relationship, if you've already been in one or looking for another relationship? Because remember, divorce is not the end. It's not that one divorce and that's it, life ends. You're not going to find anybody. We grew from that. We became better people. We learned from our mistakes, and how can we be better and bring that better version of ourselves to a new relationship? How have you achieved that, or what was the journey?
I think this journey was like a ratification of being in this spiritual path, in be very connected with the values and who I am as a person. I think this is the main lesson, and also anything that I did, it was for my good in that moment, in that particular moment. It's no judgment about that from myself, and it's just a process that helped me to move out. When I look back, another lesson for me coming out from this situation is that when I am with someone, I am with this person for love. I am not with this person because I need this person. And I want to make a lot of emphasis on this, because sometimes in relationships we try to be with someone because of need. And when we are in need, we are just in desire. And that is our self-destruction, because we will lose ourselves. So this is the message I want to give to people who wants to go back again into when they just finish the normal relationship and they want to start a new one, is be healthy here. The ways through walking through the values, like who they are, accept themselves unconditionally in a loving manner, and be ready for meet the person, but not with the expectations or the needs. It's more about giving the best to that person and receiving the best from that person too.
Yes,
I think it's more healthy in that way.
Yeah, so learning to fulfill our own needs, so that I don't have to go into a relationship looking for that this person is gonna make me better, or make me feel better, or meet my needs. Rather, meet my needs myself, and then help, and then come with love to help this other person grow and support their growth. Is that right? Did I get that?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And have you moved on to another relationship, or looking for a relationship, and what are you going to bring to that relationship?
This year, yes. I feel complete, and I feel ready to start a new relationship. I'm not looking for someone. I just I think someone is for me there. So
and you're ready for that person now.
I'm ready. I feel completely, I feel whole.
Yes.
And that is the most important thing. Yes.
Yeah, and that brings me to this question. Like, how much do you think it is important that we heal ourselves before we move into another relationship? How important is it?
I think it's very important, because if we are not healed, we are going to bring our problems and our situations into the other relationship.
Probably end up having a similar experience again.
It's going to replicate.
Yes.
So we don't need that. We need to create a new relationship, and we need to be new. We need to embrace this new relationship as a new, not with the baggage that we are bringing when you are not complete. Yes, when we are still in the process of healing. And this is what I think, but sometimes, and this is not a rule, because sometimes meeting a new person, it could be also a healer. It could be help the person to grow and to change and to clear whatever is happening in this person's life. So it's not a rule, but for me, it's important to be healed.
Yes, yeah, and I would agree, same as well. And where do you think they can seek this help, seek this healing? Where did you seek this healing, and where is this facility available? Where can I go if I came to you and said, hey, I'm going through this and I want to heal? What would you suggest?
I think everyone has their own path, and they will find a way to find this healing. Some people will go to psychologists, other people will go to a therapist, other people will just do it on their own, or just only walking, or doing a lot of exercise, or doing different activities that is going to help them to heal. So for me, it's more the matter to take this healing in a responsible way. Like if I am consciously taking the decision to get divorced, how consciously I am going to integrate myself again. And whatever I need to do, I just go and do it. If I need to see a psychologist, go and talk to them. If I need to see a therapist, go and talk to a therapist. Look for the therapist that I need, because our body is very wise and we are very intuitive. And if we need something, life just manifests that to us. Like we ask and we will receive. So, but it's important that consciously we look for this healing.
Yeah. And the whole thing can be healing. It's not that I did one thing and I healed. It could be so many multiple things. And I've been throughout probably 10, 12 years, that all to put together, I healed. It's not just one thing, one day, done.
Yes, I think the most important thing is to be conscious.
Yes.
Because even the bell can heal can heal us. Like sometimes we are very depressed and we sit in the park and we listen the bells of the that sometimes they play in the church. That will help us. So consciously, it's just being in this gratitude that we are getting better and better every day. Yes,
definitely. And if somebody is going through divorce or thinking of taking a divorce, what do you suggest is the criteria that they should evaluate or consider to stay or leave? Like, what are the criteria they should consider, which will help them come to the conclusion, should I stay or leave?
I think the first thing is look for the values they have. Also, what is the cause that is causing the separation? Why the person wants to leave? And also to take responsibility if the person is coming from a place of love or is coming from a place of desire. That makes a big difference, because when I come from a place of love and I see that I have been I'm losing myself, that I am losing my dignity, the logic thing is you have to move, you have to get out, and I have to take the decision. But if I am coming from a place of desire, that I'm not happy with this person because doesn't give me what I want, or doesn't satisfy in the way that I want to be satisfied, or any of these reasons, then that comes from desire. It's something different. So we need to look for our values and be very honest with ourselves. I think it's very important.
Thank you. Last question from me. what message would you like to share with other devotees who are struggling to find hope and optimism for their future?
This is very interesting question. So when we talk about struggling, we are talking about there is a denial within ourselves. And I think it's very important to see what are we looking for that we are not giving to ourselves. If we are struggling, there is something there that we are not conscious again. And I think all these things goes to values, self-realization, self-talking, and self-awareness. And when we said we are struggling to go out and find what we want, it's because we are not whole. So what we need to do in order to look for that, to be more grateful.
Thank you so much for your wisdom. Thank you sharing your wisdom with us, and thank you for your time so much. So thank you. So Sandra, help me out with your last name, Camacho.
Yes.
Camacho. Sandra Camacho, you are a business coach. You help businesses with setting up their values, and what else do you help them with?
Yes, I help them in setting the values, the vision, mission, standards to have a better culture.
To have a better culture.
Yes.
That's beautiful. And what is your business name and how can they find you?
Harmonics for Life.
Yes.
Yes, and I have my website, www.harmonicsforlife.com.au. And
yes, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to give my phone, but no, that's fine.
No, all good. Probably we don't want to give the phone number as yet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for your time. And I am your host, Rebecca Islam. I am a relationship coach and leadership coach. You will find me in the Empowered Leaders Network on Facebook. And my email address is empoweredleadersnetwork.com.au. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Sandra.
Thank you, Rebecca, for the interview.
May the Almighty make this program beneficial for whoever is watching and whoever is involved with it, and may the Almighty accept this effort from us. Peace and blessings. I'll see you in another episode.